The internet loved the magnet bike with its unique magnetic suspension setup. The sensation of bouncing on a cushion of air was fantastic, and you guys loved it. The amount of comments asking all sorts of questions, but there was one comment that particularly caught my eye.
Can you do this with skateboard trucks now? What a great idea! Magnetic suspension on a skateboard. How's this gonna work? But either way, as soon as you mention skateboards, magnets, hovering, the first thing you think of course, is the hoverboard from Back to the Future 2. Now, of course, this is fantastic, and people have had a lot of attempts at trying to recreate this, and they've all kind of succeeded in some ways. You can spin magnets above a copper surface. That will hover. Doesn't hover very high, but it does hover. Or you can super freeze a superconductor above a magnetic track and do it like that. I've actually had a go on one of them, but there's one thing that they've all got in common. You can't just go wherever you want to go. You're either restricted to how big your copper plate is, or of course where you've got a magnetic track. But we don't want that. We want ultimate freedom that a skateboard gives you. So maybe magnetic suspension on a skateboard is the closest we're ever going to get to this becoming a reality. So I'm thinking, how are we going to do this? If we can get like a skateboard and then above it maybe have another skateboard which is somehow suspended above the original one with magnets. Magnetic suspension. So we're going to need some magnets that hold my whole weight up. We're going to need to do some tests. Okay, now the guys at MagnetStore have actually got 4 more of these 100 by 30mm disc magnets left over from the Magnet Bike project. Now, there's actually 2 of these stacked on top of each other in each one of these little cell boxes here, but of course they're a bit too chunky for a skateboard. So, will one magnet repelling another magnet be enough to hold my weight off the ground? Now, when we did the Magnet Bike, I made my little magnet pushback tester to see how much weight they would repel, but rather than going through all the effort of doing that, why don't we make something that's a little bit more applicable to what we're doing? So I think we'll make, like a skateboard, house 2 magnets in that, and then get another board which sits above it, and then to stop it from flipping over or turning off, we'll just put 2 pins which go from the first board up through the second board, hold it in position, and then I can stand on it and see if it takes my weight. So I pull the trucks off a skateboard, plasma cut out a nice base plate, drill some holes in it, countersink and deburr, and then fix the trucks to it. I then added some 3D printed housings for the magnets, carefully placed the magnets inside and secured with a top retaining washery thingy. I then removed the second magnet from the box, and I thought while it was out, let's push it against the one I've just housed. You can definitely feel there's a lot of force. So with the 2 magnets housed in the truck's frame, I now need a top board. So I laser cut out a piece of ply, fixed to it some more magnet 3D printed housing, and then slid in some linear bearings. I then place the magnets into the board, secure with a cover plate, and then fight the magnetic forces against my tools. Then, after adding some pins to the chassis, I slide the board over the pins and watch it bounce on its magnetic repulsion. I mean, that's promising already.
Yes, Colin, it is. Now, these pins are too long at the minute, but luckily enough, I've made them in 2 parts. So, while kneeling on the board, I can unscrew the top part and replace it with a bolt and a washer. Now I can stand on it.
Right, here we go. Is it going to take my weight? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. What are we like, 3 minutes into this video? This is already way better than I expected. I mean, to all intents and purposes, that feels like a hoverboard. It's bouncing, but yet I can move. Okay, this works way better than I imagined it to, and I'm looking at it thinking, why hasn't anybody done this before? Now, I think this is definitely skateable. It's got a few weak spots in here because it's going to bend here and here, so I think I'm going to make another one, make it a little bit stronger. But the reason why I think this is very skateable is obviously when you stand on a skateboard, to steer it, you kind of twist the board and it twists the trucks. And because we've got these pins connecting the 2 bits together, that translates through it, meaning I think you'll be able to steer it. So, unlike a hoverboard, which of course has no connection to anything, this thing kind of feels like you're bouncing on something, but will work. I'm excited. Right, let's make a better one. Okay, but before that, be prepared for one of colinfurze's amazing sponsored section.
Imagine if every part of your daily routine from the days before had left pieces of information for someone else to buy, sell and use against you.
What if yesterday, when you took out your socks, you left behind a little bit of your personal data, like your address, telephone number or banking information? for someone to then take and sell on to someone else.
Well, this is what happens when you carry out everyday tasks online, and Incogni, the sponsor of this video, can help stop the spreading of your information.
Every site you visit can leave data behind, and then this can get sold on to data brokers, online directories and people's search sites. And then they can use this data against you in the form of scams and cloning.
Now, chasing down these data brokers and removing your information could take hours, but Incogni does it for you, and they offer a real-time report of to how many sites they've removed your data from and how long it would have taken you if you did it yourself.
And they don't just check once, they constantly check over and over again, as you'll be leaving new bits of information.
And now they've added this fantastic new feature where if you find your information on a site, you submit the link and their custom removal tool will take action.
And in today's digital age, this is a must-have service. So, take your personal data back with Incogni. Use the code at the link below and get my special offer. Right then, Colin, go and sort this magboard out.
Ah, we're back again. Okay, now this time I'm using an actual skateboard, and I'm just trying to think where am I going to put the magnets. Too close together, and I don't think it'll work very well, but too far apart, and the trucks will stick out from the skateboard. So I think I'll kind of split the difference and go like kind of half and half. Now, I'm going to use an aluminium base plate again, but rather than housing the magnets in plastic, I'm going to house them in stainless steel, as this is non-magnetic, and I can weld to it so I can make kind of like a sub-chassis, which will give us a little bit of extra strength. Right, let's get it all welded and fixed together and see how we get on. Oh, look at it. It's a double-decker skateboard, Colin.
Yeah. Right, well, of course, the big question is, Colin, can you actually skate it?
Okay, there is a small problem with this. I can't skate. Bike, I'm good. This, not so good. But despite the lack of skills, how's it actually going to perform? Well, as first test goes, it went pretty well.
It's heavier. But look, it's this. But of course, doesn't have any brakes. Okay, you can skate it and you can steer it. It's a good first test. But what I think we need to do is we need to slacken these pins off, because I can feel the bumpiness in the road being transmitted up through the pins into the board. And we don't want that, so I'm going to stick them on the lathe and shave them down. I've also picked up all the metal pieces that were on that path.
So I turned the pins down on the lathe, put the board back on, and then stood on it to see if I could still feel the coarseness of the bearings. And to be fair, it didn't feel any different. But then I noticed something. There was a lot of play around these bearings, which made me think, well, they can't be too tight. And then I thought, well, do we need bearings at all? Not just have some plastic shims? So that's what I've done. Although I may have gone a bit too loose. Okay, this is going to be tricky to skate.
Oh my God, that feels weird. It definitely feels more hoverboard-like though. Okay, this is way harder to skate, but it does feel more floaty-floaty. This has given me an idea. Okay, this is now really difficult to skate because we've got all this extra freedom round here. The old steering's not translating through and I can't steer it so well. But that extra freedom has made it feel more like a hoverboard. I do feel more like I'm floating on magnets. And I was thinking about this. One of the things that I loved about the magnet bike is the fact that you could not feel any mechanical interference. You could just feel the mysterious force of magnetism as you were bouncing on it. So, this is my plan. You're never going to ollie or jump or do any tricks on this because A, it's too high and B, it is blooming heavy. So I was thinking, why don't we start with a longboard? Yes, this is probably the perfect starting point. It's nice and long, you can just cruise around on it, so as long as we can keep the steering, we're on to a good thing. So what I'm thinking is we'll have another board above this, but we'll hinge it from the back here, so it can bounce on itself, but if you twist the board, hopefully it will transmit through that hinge and still do the steering, but still remaining floaty. Yes! So we need to make the mother of all hinges, because as we know, the thing that was detrimental in the bike was the frame flex, because the top board is going to want to go from side to side. We might just be heading down another avenue of problems, but I like the sound of it.
So I whipped out all my measuring devices, and then I took the trucks off, which rather strangely went through the board on this one. But anyway, So I machined some bearing cups out, plasma cut some plates out, pressed it all together, and then attacked the board with a hole saw. Gave it a dust down to keep things tidy, and then I removed the hole cutting template and replaced it with my proper stainless steel template, which is peppered with holes which need drilling. I then put my bearings over my shaft, giggity, put the carriers on the plate, welded it all together and mounted it on the board. Now, with it all fixed on and a plate fitted to the other side of the board for the other magnet, it's time I turn my attention to the top board. So, rather than drilling holes through another longboard, I thought we'd do an initial test with a bit of 12mm ply. It might prove to be a bit flimsy, but it's better than wrecking a board. So, with all the top plates mounted up, welded up and fixed, it's time to screw the board to it, add the magnets and see if it works. As soon as I stood on it, I knew immediately that this was better.
We get in there!
Okay, let's find a smooth road, give it a test. Oh yes, this was fantastic. It steered nicely, it was nice and smooth, and I was starting to get that mag-like feeling of just bouncing on a cushion of air. Also, great job on the hinge, Colin, as there was no wobble from side to side from the top board.
This one is way better. My left foot literally feels like it's floating on air. My right foot stood above the hinge, not so much. So is there a way that we can get them both to feel like my left foot? Because this is good. I can't feel the hinge, I can't feel any grinding. This is nearly a hoverboard, guys. This is nearly a hoverboard, and it steers. It's beautiful. Although coming uphill, blooming hard work. I can see why not many people use these. Knackered. Now, because this is such hard work, Rick has arrived with the tow vehicle. Also, when you jump off it, it does that. It kind of laughs at you. Yeah, this could go wrong. Right, go for it, Sim. You know earlier in the video when I said I couldn't skate, do you think I should be doing this? Yeah. Okay, this is really positive. It's starting to feel a lot like this. It's blooming brilliant, but I'm thinking, can we get rid of this hinge? Because we ideally want to be able to see the top board. We want to see all the way underneath it. And this is kind of interrupting that. So I've been thinking, is there a way that we can kind of hold it in its position with cables? Okay, now to find out this critical piece of information, I have made this. Yes. So we have got the two magnets repelling, but in this top plate, there is a range of holes going from straight above these little bolts here where we're going to thread the cables, and then we can move them further and further in to know which works best, if at all. I've got some bicycle cable here which we're going to thread through. Are you going to work? That one we'll do straight above first, just because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you, Colin? I don't know. Why wouldn't you? Why would you do any of this? Right, let's get you about level. I reckon somewhere. Right, let's take the clamps off. Right, then we'll unscrew these bad boys and we'll see what sort of mess we're going to get in. Right, Colin put some weight on it. Yeah, because rather than going down, look, it pushes it across. Because Colin on his skateboard. It's kind of weird though, because is the moving around actually going to feel quite hoverboard-like? Let's go full 45 now. There's no point doing the incrementals. Come on, Colin, we've not good all day. Go straight for 45. Right, we have got them diagonal. What's going to happen, internet? Is Colin going to be happy, or am I going to look at it and be like, oh, it's definitely more stable. Oh, so you get a bit of a wonk on. Is that good? I don't know. If that can translate into the steering, we ain't going to know this until we make it. So, of course, internet, what are we going to do? We're going to make a board that's held together with wires. Yeah.
So rather than ruining another longboard, I just cut one out of ply, put the magnets in, of course had the usual fight with all my metal tools, slid the board over, and of course you got to stand on it, because why wouldn't you stand on it? I then clamped the boards together, ready to thread the cables in, and I was looking, I was like thinking, rather than having one cable go diagonally, why don't we have two cables going diagonally and cross them over? What a brilliant idea. So, with the cables trimmed and fixed back, how's it looking, Colin?
Okay, is this going to work? Now, I haven't countersunk the magnets into the top board because I wanted as much gap in between the two boards as possible. However, that may work against us because obviously the wires are going to be under a bit more strain. But obviously since then, I've had a crisscross idea. Right, let's take these off. Right. Bicycle brake cables. Are they going to be strong enough? It's gone all wobbly. Get your hands out of the way, Colin. Just... Ah. Oh no! This could prove very bad.
So I did manage to push the magnets apart, and I realised my mistake was having the cables in line rather than diagonal and inward facing.
It's all good. And 3, 2, 1. A few moments later. So, I have mimicked how we had the cables on the test rig. Because I was looking at it thinking, like, why did that not work? Why did it fail so badly? And the only thing I could think of is because we had the cables inside the magnets, not around the magnets. So, is this gonna work? Well, that's a good sign. Oh, I think this is the one. This is the one, guys. 3, 2, 1, and... Can I stand on it? Not really what we wanted it to do, is it?
So some serious staring was in order.
Okay, we have 3 wonderful magnet boards. Ironically, the one with my name on it didn't work at all, but this, the first one, what a great way to start this project. It actually worked. It floated along lovely, but these 2 pins, we don't like the look of them, do we? No, let's try and get rid of them. So we made old hingey up here. Now, this worked fantastic. 50% of it felt like an actual fully working hoverboard. But of course, we don't want to see this big hinge, do we? That was the idea with the cables. You can see right through it, lovely. But it didn't work. So, let's have one last attempt to try and see under it as much as we can. Maybe the solution is a combination of these 2.
So with that in mind, I have one last attempt and one idea to try to see if we can finally crack it. The colinfurze magnet board. We've ripped off Back to the Future graphics. Oh yeah. Yes, very dramatic, Colin, but does it work? Right, check this out. Oh yes, people, it totally works!
Oh, this one is so much smoother.
Now with a refined connection system, the board floats up and down with 0 friction, giving the sense of pure hovering.
This literally is bouncing like you're on a cushion of air. This is unbelievable.
And as well as the smooth feeling, it steers, it works. You can use it like a normal skateboard. And when filmed in slow motion, you can see how much the board actually floats up and down on the magnetic forces.
I have totally nailed this one!
But my other question is, does this actually work as suspension on like some rougher ground? So, up at the barn, the concrete has these grooves cut into it. I attached a glass of water to a normal longboard and skated it and filmed how much it sloshed about. I then repeated on the magnet board and you can see there's a considerable difference. And on the slow-mo, you can see the board vibrating and bobbling around, but the top board remaining relatively steady. But what about really bumpy ground? Well, the town I live in has very old cobbled streets. How's it going to cope with this? Well, you can clearly see the bottom board is having a rougher time than the top board. I then tried going off the curb, but I think we've found the limit of my skating ability now. But the board is definitely best on a nice smooth surface. But that side, it's just blooming good fun.
Okay, this is the best version by far. Now, I know some of you might look at this and think, Colin, you could just put springs underneath it. It would do the same thing, but it wouldn't. bouncing on like magnetism is so much different. It's like frictionless. It generally feels like a cushion of air. It does feel like a hoverboard, and the key to that is getting these bits here to be as frictionless as possible. Now, this wasn't like Mark 3, this is like Mark 7 or 8. There are so many different little iterations to get this right.
I tried 2 smaller pins either side of the back magnet, but this wasn't strong enough. I tried 3 pins, but this wasn't much better. And again, it was the linear bearings causing all the problems. So I tried 2 fatter pins round some bearingless sleeves at the end, and well, it's starting to get there. I then thought, why round? Why not square? This actually worked a lot better, but would jam up. So I experimented with fitting bearings inside some 3D printed sleeves, and then I would mill a slot down the side of the square tubes for them to run into. And once slotted into the board, some flange plates were screwed onto the end to stop it from popping back through. The final board was cut out on the CNC router to make sure it was absolutely perfect. Now the baseboard was made from 12mm polycarb, but this on its own was a little bit too flexible. Oh, that's a nice jumper, Colin. What? Anyway, if you stood on it, it just bent. So I had to double it up and do 2 layers. But the extra flex in the base actually helps with the bounciness of it all.
Okay, so is there a better way that we can do this? With the bike, it was obvious how we could improve that, but this is a little bit more tricky. Now, we could just have one of these pins, maybe one big fat square one at the back, a little bit like the hinge. Not sure that would make it much better, but it's an option. Is there a way that we could sort of lock the magnets in place with magnets at the side? Might work when you're not standing on it, but would it be skateable? So, ideas in the comments, because sometimes you guys come out with some absolute brilliant ideas. And of course, this board essentially did come from a comment. The guy, Don Brown, who actually gave me the idea, is actually one of the guys behind Etnies, whose shoes I've been wearing since I was 16. So I think that's kind of cool. Now, thanks to MagnetStore for supplying the magnets. They got so excited with the magnet bike, they had to be involved in this and absolutely love the project. So if you want any magnets, go and check them out. And they are. Work on the secret garage car lift is going on in the background. But until then, subscribe, because what an awesome project. I mean, where am I going to keep all these magnet boards? Because I can't keep them next to each other. This one up here, look, is stuck to the ceiling. I could stick them to the side of the secret garage, I suppose, because it is metal.